All right, we got the NBA Finals that started this past week. Game 1, 118 to 109. The Raptors have moved ahead 1-0. Game 2 Sunday from Toronto as well. What are you guys' thoughts on the series thus far with the first game?
I mean, I'm not surprised that Toronto took at least one of them, especially in Toronto. They played really well at home. But I was kind of surprised of how so-so Kawhi Leonard played. You know, he played decent. I think we looked it up earlier. He had 23 points, something like that.
23 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists.
Yeah, I mean, which is good. But I mean, for the way he's been playing all playoffs, it definitely isn't on his level. I was kind of surprised that DeMarcus Cousins didn't bring more to the table than he did returning to the lineup. I thought that would really help in their matchups against Siakam and people like that to kind of add an extra big to the Warriors' ball movement. But it really didn't. Klay Thompson, inaccurate again. Steph Curry doing the best he can. If he's a no-show, Draymond Green really stepped it up. Again, I think Draymond Green has really been impressive since the absence of KD. And that's somebody they're going to need to keep going because Draymond Green can really carry. He can't really carry a team to victory, but he can help out in an essential way for sure. But
Draymond had a triple-double, 10, 10, and 10.
yeah, I mean, he's really stepped it up, and I think that's what they're going to need to keep going. Like I said, I think this is going to be a good series. I think the Warriors get them in 6, but I'm not surprised that Toronto won at least 1 or 2 at home.
Yeah, kind of piggyback off of what EDJ said, man. I'm not surprised that Toronto won. I think they're going to actually get both games in Toronto. I'm not surprised with them winning. More so I'm surprised with how they won. Like EDJ said, Kawhi having a subpar game. And just the other guys stepping up. And I think that's going to be a big question moving forward is can they take that to Golden State? Because that's going to be a teller of if they can really have a chance of winning the series.
Especially with Kawhi only putting up 23 and they won by 9. Having that so-so game.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, the score isn't really a big indicator of how much they really dominated the game.
Right. Warriors had a lot of turnovers in that game, especially in the first half.
And just, Warriors, I think we're used to the Warriors being a little reckless with the ball and
16 total turnovers.
Yep, starting relatively slow, but usually they play teams where they have enough talent to outlast them and win. So
and Toronto shot better from 3 than Golden State.
Well, that was on Thompson. I mean, Thompson was again just erratic and not
Very
where he's
erratic.
at. And if you're going to complain about being not an all NBA team.
Yep.
I mean, step up and show it, but
no KD,
you got and no
ample
KD.
amount of touches. You have to step up in this situation, especially moving forward. You're getting the max dollars eventually, pending this summer. So you really got to step up. I think the other guys in Toronto need to be praised. The Van Vliets, Pascal Siakam, Ibaka, Kyle Lowry. I mean, I'm so surprised with how he's been playing this postseason. I know we have tons of jokes about him not being able to come through, and rightfully so, right? But the way he's been playing this postseason, I mean, I have to zip my lips and really just.
Well, I mean, he's never had a Kawhi though, so I mean that could be a factor until he can play off him.
He's on that Julian Edelman.
I wouldn't say all that, but
He's just got a little sample.
He didn't have to deal with, the terror of the East this year. Also, you know what I'm saying? So that I feel like that also plays a factor. It's got to be demoralizing losing to the same man year in and year out. You know what I'm saying? You only get so far, and then you meet this just brick wall basically. So I feel like that definitely plays a part in Kyle Lowry's performances as of late.
And I agree with you, but at the same time, it's a lot of simple things he just wasn't doing right in previous series. I mean, just even being aggressive. I mean, take the shots. Like, take shots if you're open. Push the pace of the game. It's just simple point guard duties that he just wasn't carrying out in past series. And this time, I think he's taking note of that and he's doing it now.
So moving forward in the series, how does everybody kind of feel how we're going to move forward and what the series is going to look like from here?
I really think Toronto is going to take it.
You think Toronto's going to take the whole series?
I think Toronto is going to take the whole series. I think this is just they're giving the Warriors a very different feel, and I haven't really seen the Warriors since they got in KD, I haven't seen a team put this much pressure on the Warriors since last year. I guess the Rockets in the conference finals.
A little bit, yeah.
So I mean, I just think this is a different look. They can pressure all your guards. It's not really many defensive holes with Toronto like there are other teams. So this is just a different feel for the Warriors.
And to touch on that real quick, I was real impressed by how they would bring Marc Gasol up to guard Curry on the double team. Putting an extra large body on Steph Curry to force him, to be trapped in the corner. It was just a brilliant defensive scheme. That's not always going to work.
Right.
I think they took advantage of Durant not being on the floor because then you have two stars that you have to guard instead of three.
And you can't put Gasol's slow foot self on
No,
the court.
and that was the thing. You had to have him double somebody, and you had to make sure that it was instantly, or else Curry was going to get by him. So it was a great job by Nick Nurse to draw that up, and Curry, even though he scored a decent amount of points, you could tell it frustrated the Warriors team in general. But as the series goes, it kind of reminds me of when the Cleveland came back on him 3-1. It kind of gives that feel towards, once Cleveland got the first win. It feels like that team. It feels like the team that, thinks they're going to win the series, but then they realize that the other team they're playing has more to offer than they believed. So as much as I've said Warriors, I'll give it to Toronto in 7.
Wow.
Bold.
For
Very
real.
bold. But, I mean, after that game 1 performance, it's validated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it
very
doesn't go
much.
unwarranted. I still see Golden State getting this in 6. But I got a question. If Kawhi beats this team, where does that put him in all-time rankings?
Moves them up
No?
a little bit.
It moves him up. All time, he just has a lot more to do to
Yeah, he
like
does.
really
Yeah.
be up there.
His
in the
legacy
all-time
isn't
ranking.
set yet.
He hasn't really. I mean, I know he's a Finals MVP, right? He has a
Right.
championship to his name, but at the same time, we know what that Finals MVP was about.
Mm-hmm.
That was about clamping up LeBron James more than it was about his offensive output. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, he's slowly on the uprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, classic textbook two-way player. I mean, it's great for the game. So hopefully he gives us more moments to where we can put him up in the top 40s, 50s, or whatever of all-time rankings.
And who knows where he's going to go after the summer? I mean, I don't know if he wins the title. Does he stay in Toronto? Who knows? I don't think he will, but he could. And and then that could create his legacy. Carrying a Toronto organization that doesn't have really anything to show for them being an organization. So that could be, the stronghold in his legacy. Being the Toronto's head guy outside of Vince Carter.
True. Basically being the savior of Toronto. The Messiah.
Yep.
I'm gonna stay with Ray though. I think Golden State still got this. I don't think Toronto's gonna end up winning the series. I think it was a really good game, and I think they play a lot better at home than they play on the road. And I think eventually Golden State will kind of break them down a little bit. So I'll give them 7 games. I'll give them all 7.
Give him 7?
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Golden State in 7.